several seed starters in the house. We've held off right at that. But it's also our efforts to prepare for the future of equipment. And I'm down with a flexible exhaust line. And we've got Alright guys, this is Ty with Barking Squirrel Homestead, and we've got a few things to kind of go over with you guys today. First of all, just let you guys look down here. So our planter beds, we got those three there, and then we've got these three that are over here. You can kind of see the soil has started to settle down. Our dog's gotten over there when we let him out of his pen and dug it up a little bit, but they've started to settle, so we've got some more soil to add to those, and we will be putting that in there. And then when we do that, we've got a soil tester. We will test the soil and find out what we need to add per whatever we're putting in those particular planters. And I've talked about that before, so I won't go into detail there. But anyways, we're going to be amending the soil and getting those prepped and ready for us to plant. We've got several seed starters in the house. We've held off planting outside just yet because it's still a little early yet. There's still a chance of frost. In fact, tonight is a potential chance of some frost, and so we're holding off on doing that just for probably another couple of weeks before we come outside, maybe 3 weeks or so before we get outside with anything. But we've been spreading more mulch. We've got that area over there covered. We've actually got more of our tubs, like that black one that you see over there, or these back here. We've got some more of those tubs we picked up. We're going to be putting those out and getting those prepped as well in the next couple of weeks, and just getting ready to start getting outside and getting the planting done. However, we have gotten some potatoes coming, so I'm going to turn this around and let you guys take a look at this. So my daughter's told me that we've got some potatoes that are starting to come up. Let's see if we can see that. Some there. Looks like we're getting a few little starters back there. A couple in there. Got some in here, some here, some in there. They're getting up about to the height. Looking over here, looks like maybe some there too. I don't really see any in these other buckets yet. Maybe a couple over there. But you can see where the water's kind of splashed the soil around. We've got some there and there. So we're gonna add more soil to each of these and just get them covered up. As long as we add some soil to them and get them covered up, they should be okay from any kind of frost damage. So that's what our plan is here. And we're gonna fill them up to right about here. You can kind of see a little shadow of this line. What that is the thickness of the bucket rim where the handle goes in, where they've made it rigid for stability at the top. You kind of see that shadow line right there. We're gonna come just a little below that. Right there, we come right about here with that dirt, and that is going to allow for the potatoes to grow all the way up through that. And then this will create this area right here, about 4 inches or so of that bucket will be a windbreak for the plants. So the plants will grow on up above. They'll get up at like up here above the bucket, but that little 4 inches in there will create a windbreak for them. So that's what we're going to do with that. What else? Well, we've got the rabbits bred. They should be having babies probably in about 3 weeks, at least on one of them, maybe a little over 3 weeks on the other one. And so we will be having baby bunnies at that point in time. And we'll go through that process of how we kind of tend to them and that kind of thing. We don't really do anything with the moms different than normal until about 4 or 5 days before their birthing cycle begins. When we give about 4 or 5 days beforehand, we will put a nesting box in there. We'll put some fresh either Timothy or alfalfa hay in there, and that will allow them to begin to build their own nests. I don't like making nests for them. A lot of people make their own nests for the rabbits. I don't like doing that. I like allowing them to make it themselves. I think it helps foster that motherly instinct, but it's also a good barometer for us. It's a good gauge for us to tell whether they're going to be good mamas, because the ones that tend to be good mamas are the ones that go and build their own nests and do a really good job at it. What they'll do is they'll grab that hay, they'll begin putting it in there, packing it in, and then they'll begin taking their own fur. They've got a big fat tuft underneath their mouth and chin, and they begin taking their mouth and their hands, their front paws, and pulling at that and getting mouths full of it, and then they'll put that in the hay as well, and they create a really nice warm bed for the bunnies. And so they're called kits. And so for us, watching them do that is really kind of a good gauge if they're going to be a good mom or not. So we like to give them that chance, and hopefully train them in doing that and fostering that in them as well. So that's what we'll be doing here in about 3 weeks, getting ready for those kits to arrive. We've also got some other little critters that have joined the homestead, so I'll show you those two in just a second. So this is our makeshift tent that we've created for our plant starters on the inside. You can kind of see in here, Memory's created this tent, but we transplanted several plants from the trays into these containers here. So, and we planted some fresh plants as seedlings as well. We've got another kit down there, that white box down there is another kit for us to get started with some other plants as the weather changes and we get closer, further into spring, and plants that we want to keep on a rotation going like that. So we'll be cycling them through this process. Right. They are already getting bigger. These are Cornish cross. These are specifically genetically modified and hatched for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to grow really fast and really big. And these things were little bitty when we first picked them up, and it's just a few days ago. They're not even 2 weeks old yet. But when these chicks, there's 6 of them there, when they reach about 8 weeks, we will be preparing them to butcher. So 8 to 10 weeks is about the timeline that we'll do for that. But you can see their water set up. We've got chick starter. We do a non-medicated chick starter. We don't feed any of our animals medicated or modified feeds. We try to go as organic as possible with all the feed, and so we do a chick starter that's non-medicated. There is some more danger with that, more of a chance of the chicks getting sick and dying, but these seem to be doing very well. They've adapted well to the box, and this box was actually one that my older brother built. He used it to dehumidify his bow arms. He would build custom recurve bows, and he designed it specifically for that, and it works for us as a great brooding box. And so we've got 2 heat lights. We're keeping them up. We're monitoring the temperature. There's a temperature gauge down there. As the chicks, when they first start out, you get your chicks home, you want to keep the temperature just under 100 degrees. You want it like 95 or so when they're in that first couple of weeks, but then every couple of weeks until they're ready to go outside, you want to drop that temperature down a few degrees. And so right now we're running right at that 95 mark. Here probably about another week, we're going to be dropping it down to about 85. And the way we'll do that is we're literally just going to take these bars out and lift this lid up and let it stay straight up, and they'll still get plenty of heat. We're out here in the garage. It maintains the heat pretty well, so that'll be a decent temp for them. And then about a week or so after that, we'll be able to take the heat lamps off of them altogether. They'll be fine. And then probably at about 4 weeks old, we are going to move them outside. I've got to build a small little chick tractor for them to be able to be in. They'll be on grass, and we'll still give them some chick starter feed, but they'll also be on grass. But I want to give them high protein and keep them on high protein. That helps them to grow faster and get larger, and they are meat birds. So yes, that's right, in about 10 weeks, they're going to get butchered and they'll go in the freezer. But that's the only reason we have them. But they're kind of cute. Huh, Sarah? Yeah. You want to hold one? Grab one, but don't let Peyton see you. I don't need her coming out. She already grabs them enough as it is. Peyton's got a problem with them. She's addicted. She likes picking them up. They're fast, aren't they? Look at those feet. Those things are giant feet. Hold up the bottom of it. Let's see. Look. Giant claws on that thing. Look. Massive. They get big quick. All right. We'll put it back. All right, so we got one other surprise to show you. You guys may have seen that in the, well, you would have seen that in the opening shot for this, but in our efforts to prepare for the future here locally, but also on our family farm down in Seneca, we have picked up a piece of equipment, and I've been looking for a really long time, and I just came across this deal and it was too good to pass up. But we bought a tractor. There it is. That is a massive bucket. It comes with a set of forks as well. It's 59 horse, so plenty big to do anything we need to do on that farm. It's got multiple hydraulics for the front, as well as a couple of different attachments for the back, along with the 3-point, of course. It did come with a 7-foot wide brush hog that I put to use yesterday. It's really good running shape. I ran it for several hours yesterday. Did really well. Here's one of the cool things about this. Never seen this done before, but usually you look at the top of this and that exhaust pipe is sticking up, and there's usually like an old car muffler or something sticking off the top of that. Well, some farmer at some point has put this pipe in here, come down with a flexible exhaust line, and ran it right out the back with a glass pack off the sucker. But anyways, it works. Like it does this job, but it keeps the exhaust from running back in your face as you're driving. But beyond that, it's also not sticking up, and so when you're running like underneath tree limbs, you don't bang it and knock it off all the time. So, but that's it. It's got the Westendorf TA2C or 2.6 lift on it, which is a pretty beastie lift. Really strong. Nice wide front. It's a John Deere. This is 1969 John Deere 2020. They put a brand new seat on there for me. That was a few $100, so I was glad of that. It is gas. I opted to find the gas model, and I did that on purpose. The diesel, as anybody really knows, is much more powerful and go further, last longer, and do more, most generally. But diesel's also not easy to work on, and definitely not cheap to work on. This is a gas motor, which I am, because of its age, without all the sensors and everything else on it, I am capable of rebuilding this entire engine myself. The only time I would really probably have to go to any kind of a tractor mechanic or anything would be if something went wrong with the rear differential, the operating mechanisms in the back of the tractor. Anything that regards that engine itself, I'm capable of working on that myself, or my brother, and some other friends of ours. So that's why I chose to go with gas. It is 59 horse. It's plenty strong enough and big enough to do anything I need to do. It's got some wiring issues. I'm going to rewire the lights on it. Only one light's coming on right now, but that's not really a big deal. It's not like I'm going to be out plowing fields until dark or starting real early in the morning. So lights aren't absolutely necessary, but just in case I'm in a pinch and need them, I want to have at least some headlights on them, and one work light facing the back end of it. I am looking at picking up a backhoe attachment as well. This is big enough that I can hook one up to that, and so I'm going to be looking to pick up about a 14-inch bucket backhoe attachment that will hook to this 3-point, and it'll run off a hydraulic as well. And so we've got 2 different hydraulic hookups here, and then these hoses that come back as well for that. But we'll be looking to do that. That way we can do digging and trenching and stuff like that on the farm. We'll also be using this, and I'll show you guys when I do it, but we're doing work at our church on the playground, and this will be really handy with moving playground equipment around and grading gravel and things like that. Also working on the parking lot. Just a lot of other reasons that we're doing it. But anyways, so we're excited about it and ready to get to work with it and then be able to bring you guys the content from that. But that's all we have for you guys today. We want you to know that we love you, that God loves you, and that most of all, you need to stay in the Word. Have a blessed day.